Hey class. So real quick, I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what we learned in lesson 12. And lesson 12 is combining everything we learned about ridge transformations, meaning that the shapes are still congruent, the same size and the same shape. Let me lower my voice now that the air is off. And we are going to determine if they're congruent. So in this one, what we did was we looked to see which ones was translated. For example, this one translated, which means slide to go to here, and to here. This one would have had to have been rotated or flipped to get in that direction. We're going to decide if two figures are congruent. And again, congruency means the same size and the same shape. Ridge transformation meets the congruency because this shape and size does not change when it is translated, rotated, or reflected. So to prove congruence or non-congruence, if you're going to say they're the same size and same shape, you need to tell me what transformation occurred. In this case, rotation, translation, or reflection, or combination. One more time, to prove congruence, you have to tell me what transformation occurred. If they're not congruent, you are going to give me specific evidence from the picture. If you're looking at a grid, maybe corresponding sides are not the same. Here's some examples, okay? And if we look right here on page 100, if we look at these two shapes, we could visually see that they're congruent because here it takes up almost 2 lengths, and here it takes up almost 2 lengths. These will be my corresponding lengths. And here we can see that this is taking up a little small part of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. HE corresponds with D and A. So, since they're congruent, if I put my patty paper, we will notice they're the same. We have to state what the congruence is. What is the ridge transformation? It rotated 180 degrees around D. That means if I put my point D and did it 180 degrees. And then translated left 3 units and down 2. So main thing I'm looking for is it rotated 180 degrees and that it translated. This one here, go ahead and look at it. In your head, is it congruent? Yes or no? If you said it is not congruent, you are correct. It is not the same shape. It is not the same size. I can already look at the grid. I do not have corresponding points. I have E and A, which is longer than any of the other points. It has 1, 2, 3 squares. Okay? The middle might be 3 squares, maybe G, but it's not an outer point. I don't see it. No side length, that is 3 in this case. That could be one part. When you're proving congruence, you want to make sure that you state how they are not congruent. Okay? You can state that when you match them up, they are not the congruent on shape or size. In this one, again, if you see that they're congruent and you draw your patty paper and you match them up, you mark why they are congruent. If they're not congruent, you're using specific evidence. Same thing here. You see claims. Now, you will be answering each one of these questions in class. If you were absent, then this is the piece you missed. All we're talking about, again, is congruence. All right, couple things that we wanted to build on is understanding that two figures are congruent if a sequence of transformations happen. If they're not congruent, you are stating why they're not congruent, okay? Two figures are not congruent if they have different side lengths and different angles or different areas. It has to be the same. So, one thing that we did for homework is going to be these questions here. You need to be able to, if this transformation happened, where does the angles match up? And where does the side lengths match up? Okay? Same thing here. If these are congruent, you're going to state why they're congruent. That's a quick overview. Just remember again, if they are congruent, they are the same sides and shape, meaning having the same corresponding side lengths and corresponding angles.